In English 90 this semester, you will be viewing several recorded lectures that are available on D2L and YouTube. These lectures will cover topics related to grammar and citation, so you can improve on your academic essay writing. The first of these lectures is conjunctive adverbs. If you haven't done so already, you will need to go to the D2L content page and print out the conjunctive adverbs prep packet. You will use that prep packet to take notes during this lecture, and you'll also need to submit the conjunctive adverbs prep packet fully completed in order to get credit for having viewed this video. You can pause the video and print out that prep packet right now. Our first slide lists some of the most commonly used conjunctive adverbs. Please reference your conjunctive adverbs prep packet, number 1, which asks that you list 8 to 10 of the most common conjunctive adverbs you've used in your essays in the past. You can pause the video and give that list right now. Now that you've written down the 8 to 10 most commonly used conjunctive adverbs in your essays, let's think about when we should use those adverbs. In order to do that, we have to know what conjunctive adverbs means. Conjunctive adverbs are really just ordinary adverbs. Adverbs are words that are used to describe verbs. In this example, he went to the mall instead. Instead is bolded because it's an ordinary adverb used to describe the verb went. When we take ordinary adverbs and use them to connect two independent clauses, they become conjunctive adverbs. In this example, he was going to play Assassin's Creed 3. Instead, he went to the mall. He was going to play Assassin's Creed 3 is our first independent clause. He went to the mall is our second independent clause. But because we connected these two independent clauses with a semicolon and used the word instead, the ordinary adverb instead, became a conjunctive adverb. Notice that when you use a conjunctive adverb to connect two independent clauses, you put it at the beginning of the second independent clause. If we look at our first example, he went to the mall instead, because instead is just an ordinary adverb here, it comes at the end of the sentence. Please reference your conjunctive adverbs prep packet. Number 2 asks you to define conjunctive adverbs. You can use the second bullet as your definition. Please pause this recording and write down the second bullet as your definition for conjunctive adverbs. Now let's think about how we should punctuate conjunctive adverbs. Remember, conjunctive adverbs are used to separate two independent clauses. When we use it to separate those two independent clauses, you have to separate the independent clauses with a period or a semicolon. In this example, the first bullet, Tamika has a good relationship with her father. However, her relationship with her mother is awkward. In this case, those two independent clauses are separated with a period. Please label the period. Well, first you have to write down that first example under number 3 of your prep packet, which asks you to give 2 examples of coordinating conjunctions used to separate two independent clauses. So write down your first example, then label the period, draw an arrow toward it, and box the period. So we've separated that first independent clause. Now the second independent clause, her relationship with her mother is awkward. In order to use the conjunctive adverb to separate those two clauses, you put the conjunctive adverb first. I want you to label the conjunctive adverb, draw a line, and then draw a circle around the conjunctive adverb. So that's the first way we can punctuate two independent clauses that are separated with a conjunctive adverb. Let's look at our second example. Mark does not have any money but wants a new iPhone. Therefore, he's looking for a job. In this case, the first independent clause, Mark does not have any money but wants a new iPhone, is concluded with a semicolon. So you should write down your second example, label the semicolon, draw a line toward the actual semicolon, then box the semicolon. Therefore is our conjunctive adverb that introduces the second independent clause in the sentence. So label therefore, draw a line toward it, and put a circle around therefore. We're almost finished punctuating these two sentences that use conjunctive adverbs, but there are two things that we need to look at more closely. Whether you separate two independent clauses with a semicolon or a period, the conjunctive adverb in the second independent clause must be followed by a comma. So in our first example about Tamika, we still have the period boxed, we still have however circled, but what I want you to do on your prep packet is label the comma, draw a line toward it, and put a triangle around the comma. In our second example, remember we used a semicolon to separate the two independent clauses about Mark and his iPhone. We already have that semicolon boxed. We already have therefore circled, but I want you to label the comma that follows therefore, draw a line toward it, and put a triangle around that comma. So for number 3 on your conjunctive adverbs prep packet, you should have everything labeled and circled. The period should be boxed and labeled. However, in the first example, should be circled and labeled. The comma should be a triangle should be around the comma, and the comma should be labeled. You need it to look exactly like it does in the previous slide and this slide in order to get your credit. So that concludes our conjunctive adverbs video. Remember, you will need to submit the conjunctive adverbs prep packet in class in order to get credit for having viewed this video. If you need to, you can replay the video and make certain that all of your answers for your prep packet are covered and precise so you can get credit.